What up, YouTube? This your boy Fist Vegas, coming to you again with another NBA video. Today, I want to talk about is the East finally better than the West as a conference? Now, granted, the West does have Golden State, so they have the number one team overall. But as a conference, as far as depth and amount of teams and how hard it's going to be to get through the conference and make the playoffs, I think the East is definitely better than the West. My prime example being after you get past San Antonio, Golden State, yeah, okay, the Clippers. The Clippers are still going to win anywhere from 52 to 56 games like they always do. So after you get past those three teams, you got the Thunder, who I guess if they keep Russell Westbrook with Oladipo, Steven Adams, Cantor, and them boys, maybe they win another 50 games. It's nothing guaranteed, but it can happen. So after that, you got Portland, who I think was a fluke, but they won 44 games last year. Dallas kind of retooled with Harrison Barnes and Bogut for whatever it's worth. They're pretty much the same team all you did was swap out Parsons and Zaza for Bogut and Harrison Barnes. As far as I'm concerned, they actually downgraded because I would rather have Parsons at his best than Harrison Barnes at his best. Harrison Barnes is a bum. He showed that in the finals. But I digress. Now, after that, you got Houston, blah. They finished 41-41 last year with an 8th seed. They're going to be without Dwight Howard, of course. He's in Atlanta. Then you have Utah, who I think is actually going to make the playoffs this year, who barely missed out last season. They lost out to Houston. And then the rest of the conference is just bad. It's ugly. Who cares? Memphis, I guess you want to say Memphis might win 42 to 44 games. I guess if Conley and Gasol stay healthy throughout the year, but Zebo's a year older. They don't have Courtney Lee anymore. I don't think they have Lance Stevenson anymore. I mean, who the hell knows with that team? So, Phoenix, dumpster fire. LA, don't even get me started. Although, I do believe LA is going to be better. Playoffs is a stretch. Sacramento, don't get me started. Anthony Davis and the Pelicans, if him, Drew, and the boys, they stay healthy, then, they may make some noise. And then you have Minnesota. Minnesota's going to win a minimum of 44 to 48 games. Minimum. But for the most part, I can honestly see a situation where in the West you have three teams that win 50 games and everybody else barely goes above 45 wins. Because it's hard to make a case for anybody in the West after the Clippers, the Spurs, and the Warriors winning 45 games. It's still too early to completely predict everything out, but I could see Golden State winning another 70-plus games, San Antonio winning another 60, the Clippers winning the mid-50s, probably like 54, 55, and then maybe the fourth seed will be Minnesota or OKC around 44 to 45 wins, maybe 46, 47, depending on things break well. And that's if they keep Russell Westbrook. If the Thunder gets rid of Russell Westbrook, then who the hell knows what's going to happen in the West? I mean, a team like Sacramento, they might just creep in. So who the hell knows? But now I want to move on to the West. Now I want to move on to the East. Now in the East, let's put this in perspective. Last season, the Detroit Pistons finished 44-38. They were the 8th seed. In the West, Portland was the 5th seed, and they finished 44-38. So the East last year was already better than the West. It's just that the West was top heavy, and the East is Cleveland a bust. And to this year, it's probably going to be the same way. Nobody's probably going to beat Cleveland, but you can truly make the case that Indiana and the Knicks and maybe Boston. I don't think Al Horford's all that, but I digress. Maybe Boston are going to push Cleveland to the brink. And I also believe the Pistons, who played Cleveland, who only team to play Cleveland tougher than Detroit was Golden State. Yeah, Toronto got the 2 games, but let's be real here. Cleveland, they took a couple nights off, but that first round against Detroit, every game was pretty much competitive. Detroit played their asses off. They just didn't have the horses. Reggie Jackson isn't there yet. Drummond isn't there yet, but maybe another year, they might be there. So you got the Knicks, who I believe if they stay healthy, they're going to win 50 games easily with Rose, Porzingis, Carmelo, Courtney Lee, Joakim Noah. That's a nasty-ass starting five. And the Knicks, hell, their whole squad is a bunch of bench players who happen to play mediocre as starters. So when you put them in their natural roles coming off the bench, they'll be just fine. I believe the Knicks are a hell of a squad, health permitted. Health permitted. Then you got Indiana, who I think is going to breeze past 50 wins, be with Paul George and Ellis and Jeff Teague. They even got Thaddeus Young. That's a nasty ass squad. I would have preferred that they kept Frank Vogel. I don't know what this new coach is going to do. I don't know how the defense is going to be played. I don't think Frank Vogel deserved to be fired, but hey, what are you going to do? He had no business losing to Toronto in the first round. I could see why Larry Bird was pissed and said, kick rocks. Then you got Atlanta with Horford, Isaiah Thomas, and pretty much Marcus Smart. It's the same damn team with Al Horford. It's pretty much the same damn team. You just add Al Horford. So they won 48 games last year. I think that's the best they do this year. I don't think they're really going to improve from 48 games. The question is, what seed will they get? Who will they play in the first round? Can they actually get out the first round? That's the concern with the Boston Celtics. Because at the end of the day, they're not going to beat Cleveland. I think a good season for the Celtics is making it to the semifinals. Just getting out the first round for the fucking first time with Brad Stevens. And then Atlanta is meh. I'm going to be honest with you. Who the fuck cares? Dwight Howard has been dead to me for like 5 years now. Who cares? Then you have the Miami Heat without Dwayne Wade. Once again, who the fuck cares? The Miami Heat are officially dead to me. I will also have a video coming shortly about the relationship between Pat Riley and Dwayne Wade. I just don't think Whiteside and Dragic and Winslow and those young boys are just... No, Wade carried that team to 48 wins. I don't care what anybody says. Wade deserved this money. Pat Riley's a snake. I digress. Then I already mentioned the Pistons. They're gonna be hell with Tobias Harris, Marcus Morris. You got Reggie Jackson, KCP, Drummond. They're gonna be pretty damn good. Then I want to move on to Chicago. I feel like on pedigree alone, Chicago's going to win about 44 to 48 games on pedigree alone. With Wade, Rondo, Butler, Mirotic. That's still a good squad. It's just they're not going to shoot any threes. So is that just fucking forget about it. It's just going to be Rondo and Wade driving to the hole. Hopefully Jimmy Butler can develop a good jump shot because he's not going to touch the ball with Rondo and Wade in the backcourt. It's just not going to happen. He can fucking forget about it. And then you also have, and speaking of Chicago missed the playoffs last year, and they were at 42-40. Washington with a pretty banged up squad last year. Wall played hurt. Bale, forget about it. He's always hurt. Even Washington still won 41 games. So the East is going to be hella fucking competitive. The East goes about 10 teams, maybe 11 deep now that the Knicks are relevant. So the East actually goes about 11 deep. So the East is going to be it's going to be something to see this year. It's going to be really, really competitive. I can make a case that you're going to have to win a minimum of 47 to 50 games to make the playoffs in the East. I really can make that case because it took 44 games to make the playoffs in the East last year, and that was with Detroit. And then, if you just do the math, the reason why the West was so dominant all those years is because the East was so terrible. But now so the West used to beat up on the East and get all those easy wins. That's why you saw the West, you always had to win 48, 49, 50. One year you had to win 50 games to make the Western Conference playoffs. So now all those sorry teams in the West are going to get beat up on by the good teams in the East. So it's a shift in power, it's a shift in balance. Now this is before a Westbrook trade, because if Boston trades for Russell Westbrook, then I'm going to put them at number 2 in the East. Westbrook, Isaiah Thomas, Al Horford, Crowder. That's going to be a beast, that squad. So that's pretty much my case for why the East is better than the West. And I also want to throw this out there. Let's be real here, people. Nobody's beating Golden State in the West, barring injury. And nobody's going to beat Cleveland in the East, barring injury. Although I will say this. The Pacers and the Knicks, if they're healthy, can push Cleveland to a 7-game series. If Cleveland has to go through Indiana or New York in the second round, and then face a team, then face the Indiana or New York, whoever's left over in the Western Conference Finals, or if they bump into another team like the Pistons, the Bulls, or the Celtics in the first round, they might be tired as hell going into the finals. I think what helped them win the championship this year, besides Draymond Green getting suspended, Adam Silver, I digress. Besides that happening, I truly believe that they were fresh. Golden State went through hell against OKC, and then Cleveland comes in after getting rid of Toronto quick, fast, and in a hurry in 6 games. They came in with over a damn near week or more worth of rest. So that helped. That's not going to be the case this year. And that just goes to show you why there's just no way Golden State doesn't win a championship next year. And I still hate Golden State, but I'm not a fool. I know what I see. That team is going to be hell. And who cares about paint presence? Because to be honest with you, Cleveland's paint presence is Tristan Thompson. He's, what is he, 6'8", 6'9"? It's not like Golden State has to go against 5 or 6 Shaquille O'Neals. The NBA doesn't have big men, so I don't want to hear all this they don't have a paint presence bullshit. Fuck it. They're that good, except that unless they get hurt or they don't like each other, they're going to win at least 2 out of the next 4 championships. Point blank, period. I'm going to end the video on that. This your boy Fitz Vegas. Checking out. More videos to come.